Okay, hello. We are now live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our special webinar tonight. Tonight we have a guest from Taxumo who will be talking to us about something that a lot of us are curious about. I know people are asking, where do you register? Paano mag-register? Paano magbayad ng tax? Bakit ba magbayad ng tax? And we're gonna get those questions answered tonight with a representative from Taxumo. Let's welcome. Well, if you guys can hear me and see me, I think everything is doing fine. Or I can't see the comments yet. If you can hear me and see me, please say hi in the comments down below. Please say good evening. Let us know where you're watching from. I know the weather isn't that good right now. Kahit dito sa Cebu, we had pretty rainy and windy day. How about sa Bohol, Lidge?
Well, same naman. It's been very cloudy and rainy since this afternoon. So, yeah, similar nga yung weather between across the sea of Cebu and Bohol.
But yeah, I know a lot of you guys might. I hope you guys are safe. And you might be experiencing some bad weather. I hope you guys are safe. We were supposed to. Well, let me just introduce our representative tonight from Taxumo who will be talking about this topic. Ipakita ko lang yung topic dito. Our topic for tonight is like hindi pa nakita. I can't see it. Do you see it?
Yes, you can see it.
Okay, there we go. Tax 101, Intro to Business and Business Registration and Tax Compliance. That's all. Welcome, Mr. Lidge Alas. Yay!
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you so much for having us here and me pala here. Thank you for the opportunity for being able to speak to your community as well.
Oh, so he's going to be answering questions. If you guys have any, well, he has a presentation tonight. If you guys have any questions, please type them in the comment section. We'll see if we can get them answered. There was supposed to be someone else joining Lidge tonight, but because of the weather, she wasn't able to join, unfortunately. But yeah, we have Lidge is ready with the presentation. And yes, ito mga viewers natin. We just have, I think, affected yung numbers natin sa viewers because of the weather. A lot of viewers are in Manila, so hopefully you guys are okay. For those that are in the Manila area, in the NCR area, I hope you guys are doing fine. Marie, good evening. Hello. Soleil from Doha. Nice. Maricel, good evening. Sin from Malate. How are you doing, Malate? Den, good evening. Chen, hello. Marjo from Quezon Province. Ferdinand, hello, good evening. Miss from Samal. Nice, I've been to Samal. Hello, good evening, Mahar. Crisel, Grace, Leah, Marie from Ilocos Sur. Erlin from Laguna. Ange from Manila. Oh, yeah, from Manila. And good evening, Roden from La Union, Eugene from Tarlac, Janice from Bicol. All right, we've got a number of people tonight who are joining us. And yes, are you guys excited? Or baka hindi excited, curious, or interested sa topic? I know it's not always an exciting topic, pero it's a topic na kailangan natin pag-usapan. It's something that we have to do, we have to deal with. It's part of our duties as being Filipino citizens, itong tax compliance. And as freelancers, whether you're an aspiring freelancer right now or you're a current freelancer, this is important information regarding how we're going to get registered and how we do things legally in line with what we're supposed to be doing. So yeah, take it away, Lidge. It's all yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Jason. Thank you so much once again for having me here tonight. So our topic for tonight is Tax 101, Intro to Business Registration and Tax Compliance. So before we begin, may isang question ako. Like, why should I go legit with my freelancing career? Ano ba yung benefits natin if we register our business with the BIR and if we become tax compliant? So first of all, to answer that question, it's bigger clients. So why do I say bigger clients? Because eventually, we all start our businesses small scale, but eventually you want to have more clients. You want to go after the big fish, and eventually if you're a freelancer, you may want to chase after yung mga corporations, yung mga big businesses and all that. So yung important kasi here for freelancers is that most of these big corporations and these big companies will require an official receipt from you in order for them to be able to transact with you. So if you are not able to provide that OR, then most likely you won't be able to get them. So the only way you can get an official receipt is to be able to register your business with the BIR. Yun talaga yung requirement mo to be able to get these bigger fishes. So yeah. So next naman is you need to have in terms of leverage or load. So bakit yung sinasabi to? Unlike kasi if you're an employee, you have the advantage of having a HR person, an HR manager to do your payroll, yung mga payslip, and yung mga Form 2316 mo, which is what is your, basically your income tax return if you're an employee. But in the case of full-time mga business owners or full-time freelancers, you don't have that luxury. You have to do everything by yourself. And the bank will not accept that, hey, my name is Liege, I'm the owner of Liege Freelancing. The bank won't accept that. So ano yung best proof of income mo to provide to the banks for you to get a loan? And it's basically your annual ITR. Yung proof of income mo. There's no better document, and there's not actually better document, but it's the requirement of almost every single bank out there in order for you to get a loan. And the next naman is visa application. So what do I say visa application? The same naman, in the same line with yung loan application, when you want to travel to first world countries, you have to go to the embassy, go through the whole process of applying for a visa. But then, yung kinakailangan nila most of the time is yung proof of income mo. Basically proof na, hey, I want to know whether you're staying here indefinitely or not. Your annual ITR shows to them that, hey, I'm operating a business in the Philippines. I'm getting a huge sum of money from my business, from my career. And there's basically no reason for me to stay here. And that's the reason why you should get registered. You should get your business registered. Kasi yung annual ITR nga is the best proof that you have for the embassy to approve your visa. And the next is to avoid tax penalties. So unlike naman sa well, when it comes to the BIR, what a lot of people don't know is that the BIR has been beefing up their data analytics team for quite some time now. So what do I mean by this? A lot of people, especially in Taxumo's case, when we do BIR registration, we've had some cases whereby when they register their business, may naghihintay na penalties for them. So the BIR knew that they were actually earning income, they're actually operating as a business, even way before they registered with the BIR. So yun, so if you really want that peace of mind na wala nga habol sa'yo si BIR or wala kayong penalties na naghihintay, then you should register your business. It's to avoid tax penalties. That's because that's cash as well. That's money that you can also be returning to your business in order for it to grow back. No? So that's what. So basically, those are 4 reasons why you should be tax compliant and be a BIR registered business. So next naman we'll talk about registration, compliance, and optimization. So let's begin with registration. A brief run through of how you should register your business with the BIR. Now, the question here is that, are you a professional, a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or corporation? Now, in this case kasi, if you're a freelancer, you will belong to a professional. The professional means na you're practicing your profession. So whether you're a content writer, a graphic designer, or a digital marketer, you're practicing your profession. So that's usually where people go for in terms of their business type. Now, your table here shows the different government agencies that you will be dealing with in the process of registering your business. So if you're professional, you may deal with the LGU, but it's not entirely necessary, but you will most definitely deal with the BIR. And with the sole prop, you will have to go to the DTI for your business name registration. You'll have to go to the LGU for your permits. And a partnership incorporation is, instead of a DTI, you'll be dealing with the SEC, which is a whole totally different parang ball game when it comes to compliance. Kasi ang dami nilang the documents that you are required to comply with, like, really increases when you go for partnership incorporation. So we can divide the whole registration process into 3 simple steps. May DTI, May LGU tayo at may BIR. So, step 1 with a DTI. Now, do you need a DTI business name registration if you're a freelancer? No, hindi to kailangan. It's a totally optional step if you're a freelancer. Kasi you can use your own name as your business name. But then again, if you want to have a business name for yourself, then you will have to go with the DTI. So ito yung kailangan nyo. You can actually do this online. So yeah, it's very simple. Fill out the fields dito. The payment must be completed within 7 days upon filling out the form. And then once you've paid it, just check your email. Once payment is successful, sinesend na sa email na yung certificate of business name registration. But as a heads up to everyone out here, that if you plan to go to the route of DTI business name registration, please be aware that you need to start your registration with the BIR within 30 days. Otherwise, may late filing na penalty doon. So if you want to have your own business name, then factor that timeline in. So yeah, if you're preparing documents in DTI, please prepare as well for the BIR. Now next is the LGU. This is basically the requirement for freelancers. You just need to go to your barangay hall or municipal hall to get your barangay business clearance and occupational tax receipt. Now, with the release of the RMC 60/2020, this isn't required by the BIR to process your BIR registration. So you can totally disregard this. But the reason why I'm putting this here is that there have been some cases in some RDOs that they have been requiring this. So if you will process your BIR registration, I would highly suggest that everyone call or visit your RDO first to determine kung ano talaga yung requirements nila. Kasi minsan nagdi-differ yung requirements nila. The next step is to go to the BIR na. Now, phase 0, ito yung basic is that RDO transfer. So, RDO transfer for your TIN, tax identification number. So, bakit ko to sinasabi? The reason why I say this is that may cases talaga na where you start working is that doon kasi na register yung TIN mo. Say for example, I started working in Cebu. So my TIN is registered in Cebu, but I plan to do my business in Bohol. So I really need to transfer my TIN from Cebu to Bohol. So that's the use case for RDO transfer. So how do you do this? You just need to do Form 1905, fill out your Form 1905, go back to your BIR RDO na original, and then have it stamped and verbal of confirmation para ma-transfer na siya to your new RDO. Then next is the initial registration step. So ito yung usually yung nire-require ni BIR. But as I said earlier, the requirements have been decreased because of RMC 2020. But just to be sure, please please call your local RDO to see ano yung documents na required. So after compiling all the requirements, the documents, go to your RDO, give this to them, then you will be expecting to receive these documents. Yung BIR certificate of registration na Form 2303, stamp books of accounts, and yung authority to print. So the ATP is yung medyo critical dito kasi you will need this to print your official receipts. Now, after receiving your authority to print, you will go to an authorized printer, not just any printer, an authorized printer by the BIR to print your ORs. So you present your approved ATP and then format of an official receipt if you have one, and then you'll be expecting 10 booklets from them. So after getting those booklets of yung mga ORs nyo, you go back to your RDO, and then you will have 10 stamp booklets. So after this, ready ka na. You are officially BIR registered business, and then may stamp 10 booklets ka. Now, let's go to the exciting part ng topic, which is tax compliance. So, first, let me, ito yung mga upcoming deadlines natin with the BIR. So, for freelancers naman, and especially if you're on 8% na flat income tax rate, there is the deadline for your quarterly income tax return is November 13, which is yung deadline of Taxumo. But for BIR's deadline, it is on November 15. It's kasi Taxumo's deadlines are 2 days earlier than the BIR's. So just a heads up, if you are complying with your taxes this year, ito yung deadline na dapat like you should be looking forward to. So we can categorize taxes into 4 different kinds. So we have business taxes, we have income tax, we have expanded withholding tax, and withholding tax on compensation. Let's begin first with business tax, and let's begin with VAT. So do I need to pay VAT? Not necessarily. You will only need to pay VAT if your business reaches an annual sales of greater than 3 million pesos. So if you don't reach that threshold, if you don't go beyond that threshold, then you don't need to pay VAT. So how do you compute for VAT? It's a very simple formula. So it's tax payable is equal to output tax minus input tax. So output tax is basically the yung pinapatong mo sa sales mo. And then yung input tax is basically the VAT that you've paid kasi you've purchased from another VAT. You purchased VATable items. And then you will be required to comply with 2 tax forms. 2550M, which is your monthly VAT returns, and 2550Q, which is your quarterly VAT returns. And then may kasama kasing attachment, yung quarterly returns mo, which is yung SLSP, or Summary List of Sales and Purchases. And if you're a VAT registered business, medyo heavy nga siya sa compliance kasi you have filings to comply with every single month of the year. Sorry. Next naman is yung percentage tax. So if you don't reach the threshold of 3 billion pesos, you will be basically defaulted to the BIR with the percentage tax. So percentage tax is a tax na nilelevy for 3% times the gross sales. So yung deadlines natin dito is on January, April, July, and October. So it's simpler compared to VAT kasi you only need to file 4 times. May 2551Q tayo na file na form. Ito yung tawag na sa form na that we need to file every single quarter. Next, we'll go to the ito yung income tax is basically what people think about when we talk about taxes. So may dalawang kinds say dito. May graduated income tax rate and may 8% flat income tax rate. So let's discuss this in further detail kasi dito medyo naging interesting yung topic ng taxes. So first, let's begin with income tax, yung 8% flat income tax rate. So ano yung 8% flat income tax rate? Kasi this is what freelancers usually go for when it comes to their tax schedules. So 8% is a new tax schedule that was released when chain law was enacted. Basically, it simplifies the whole tax compliance process. Kasi if you look in the section of the slide here, if you're on 8% flat income tax rate, you no longer need to file your 2551Q. So it reduces the forms na that you need to file by 4. So you only need to file your 1701Q 4 times a year if you're 8% flat income tax rate. And then, sobrang simple lang ng calculation niya. It's gross sales minus 250,000 times 8% if you're purely earning from your business. If you're mixed income naman, meaning that you're also an employee. So yung tax payable mo is equal to gross sales times 8%. So ayun. So the reason why walang 250,000 is that nasa salary, dinededuct na yung 250,000 nyo na deduction sa salary. So wala nang natitira for your business. So that's the reason why. Now next is yung graduated income tax rate. So just a heads up to everyone, this is the default tax schedule by the BIR. If you don't choose 8% flat income tax rate at the beginning of each tax year. So yun nga, you need to be conscious about this, guys. Kasi if you don't choose 8% in your 1701Q first quarter filing, you will be defaulted to graduated income tax rate. Meaning, you'll also need to file your percentage tax. So first, for graduated income tax rate, let's discuss in itemized. Itemized is basically nililista niyo yung lahat ng expenses niyo for tax deductions. So your formula here is gross sales minus gross purchases. And from there, you can get your taxable income, and then you will use this table here to determine how much you need to pay in terms of income taxes. So nagiging medyo mas complicated na yung taxes niyo dito. Now, next is yung OSD, or optional standard deduction. So OSD, in essence, is you're saying to the BIR na, hi BIR, yung expenses ko is 40% of my gross sales. So how is this beneficial to me? Well, it simplifies yung tax compliance kasi you no longer need to list down yung mga expenses nyo. You don't need to religiously do that kasi you're declaring na 40% lang yung expenses nyo. And then, simplify rin yung calculation. But when it comes to how much tax you need to pay, you need to refer to the same tax table. So my question, I know you guys will be asking this question. Ano ba yung what will be more beneficial for me? Itemized or OSD? Well, just to hold on to your seats lang guys kasi I will be discussing that sa optimization section ng webinar natin. So, next is yung expanded withholding tax. Think of withholding tax as advance payment for your income taxes. Kasi yung amounts that are being withheld from you can be used as credits. Basically, you can deduct that amount from the total payable you have when it comes to your quarterly ITRs or annual ITRs. Now, expanded withholding tax, nararanasan ito usually if you deal with local clients na withholding agents din. So you will receive creditable withheld tax, which is also known as Form 2307. So, nalilesen yung cash on hand nyo because your client will be withholding amounts from you. And in order for you to claim yung mga tax credits, so you will need to file your SAWTs or Summary Alpha List of Withheld Taxes every time you file your 1701Q. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, you can be a withholding agent as well, meaning that ikaw na mismo yung nag-withhold ng amounts from your suppliers. So yung amount na withhold nyo is equal to total payable times ATC rate, which is also known as the alphanumeric tax code rate. Well, iba-iba kasi yung rates depending on the industry and the classification, so you will need to double check on that. So yung total payable to your suppliers will be total payable minus amount withheld. And then medyo this one is a very heavy heavy thing to comply with. 0619E, may 1601EQ, may attachment kayo na QAP, and may filing kayo na 1604E. So yun nga, medyo nagiging really complicated yung tax yung tax compliance dito kasi ang dami nyo na fina-file. But how do you know if you're a withholding agent? It's a very simple thing to do is you double check your certificate of registration. Nakikita nyo doon if you're actually a withholding agent or not. So medyo tax hack nito na if you don't know what sort of taxes you're filing or what sort of tax schedule you're on, please go back and check your certificate of registration. The BIR will indicate it there kung ano yung kailangan yung i-file. Now, lastly is withholding tax and compensation. And the same naman to na logic sa withholding tax. So, you're withholding amounts for the income tax payments ng mga employees niyo. So, this only applies if you have employees, guys. And then, may changes tayo with when it came to the chain law. So, wala nang dependent-based deductions. Everyone has 250,000 pesos deduction by default. And then, yung mga expected na tax forms you need to file is yung 1601C, 1604C, and 2316, and may attachment kayo na alpha list, yung basically listahan ng mga empleyado nyo. So that's withholding tax on compensation. Now let's go with optimization. Optimization means how are we able to lessen the amount of taxes that we are paying, and how do we improve the whole tax filing experience? First, ito yung this is very beneficial for freelancers, especially when you're working with local clients. Kasi when your client is a withholding agent, meaning they're withholding amounts from you, they default kasi to 10% yung withhold the amount. But there's actually a way to reduce that amount to around 5%. So here's how you do it. So you provide a sworn statement, may template sa BIR, testifying that you are earning less than 3 million per year gross, and you provide your BIR COR to your customer and payer. So from that, they will be able to reduce your 10% to 5%. So what does this mean for you? It means more cash on hand. Who doesn't want more cash on hand? Next naman is, should you go for OSD or itemized? So yung rule of thumb natin dito is that if your expenses are greater than 40% of your gross income, then you choose itemized. Otherwise, you choose OSD. So if you see the example here, nakita natin dito na expenses are really less than 40% of your income. So nakita natin yung tax due for OSD is less. Now, if we flip that, that's if the expenses now become 65% of your income, which is greater than 40%, we see that the itemized here becomes more attractive because your tax dues have been reduced to 20,000 compared to 80,000 with the OSD. Now, another question is that, should I go for 8% flat income tax rate or should I go for graduated income tax rate? For freelancers, we usually recommend going for the 8% flat income tax rate because it's simpler. And then kasi 8% is recommended for businesses that have high margin, meaning that if konti lang yung expenses nyo, then 8% becomes a better option. But as you have more expenses with your business, meaning that you are a very expense-heavy business, that means that you're able to reduce the amount of income tax you pay because you have a lot of tax-deductible expenses. So the case for graduated income tax rate increases as soon as you start incurring more and more expenses. Let's say, for example, you go with you're in a buy and sell business na may marami kayong overhead expense, may employee, may payroll pa kayo, and then you purchase inventory. Then it starts to make sense that, hey, I can actually reduce the amount of income tax I pay. Next is you can actually pay your annual ITR in 2 installments if it's more than 2,000. But the first payment has to be at least 50% of total payable. Then you can pay the remaining amount by October. So if you feel na medyo malaki yung babayaran niyo for your annual ITR, then you can choose this option to pay in installments. So at least may time kayo to gather the money needed to pay. Next is you don't forget the attachments. A lot of people forget na may attachments na kasama yung mga tax filings niyo. And you'll never want to forget the attachments kasi you may be penalized with the BIR if walang kasamang attachments yung filing niyo. So please don't ever forget this. And then common mistakes to avoid is not filing when tax is 0. So bakit ko sinasabi is that once you register your business, there's already an expectation of you by the BIR to file your taxes on time. Otherwise, if nakita ni BIR na you're not filing it on time or you're not filing it at all, then it's grounds for open cases or grounds for penalties. And then next and lastly is not filing because my client withheld from me. This is a wrong assumption to make kasi that your client withholding taxes from you is their responsibility as a withholding agent. But then it's a totally separate responsibility for you to declare your income and pay the appropriate taxes for it. So ayun, it's required by law naman to file and pay your taxes once you start earning income from your profession or your business. And then that's it. That's the last tax hack. So we can start putting in questions.
All right, thank you so much, Ledge, for that presentation. I'm sure that a lot of people baka you have mga questions or mga concerns regarding tax. That was a very good summary. Ako naman personally, I don't like dealing with all this stuff. So what I have is I have Taxumo. So I'm signed up for Taxumo, and then we just put in the yung per month, yung revenue per month, and then sila na bahala telling me, okay, you have to pay this, you have to pay that, ganun lang. Of course, there's a setup, pero after the setup, I just every month just enter yung revenues, and then sila na bahala telling me how much I need to pay, and then I pay it all online, diba? So, am I doing it right, Balej?
Yes, you're doing it right. Yes. So automated naman sa Taxumo. So basically we do the thinking for the taxes for you.
Kaya nga, it's all automated. Kasi sakit sa ulo. And then I don't really need a bookkeeper. Well, not really kasi it's all just revenue. Tapos 8%, tapos OSD. So very, 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 very simple. Just enter all the revenues and everything else na nabala. So I don't really need to hire like an accountant or anything because Taxumo does it all for me without the headache. So ayun, just you can sign up for tax. We have a, hindi ko pa alam yung coupon code. You know our coupon code.
Flip, yes.
Flip lang, no?
Yeah, Flip gives you 10% off.
You can sign up with our coupon code Flip for freelancers in the Philippines, and then you get 10% off of any subscription with Taxumo if ever you sign up. So yeah, I highly recommend it for less headaches. Oh, nandito si EJ.
All right.
Let's bring him in. Hey.
Hey, EJ.
Nakamute ka. I'll unmute you. Can't unmute. You have to unmute yourself. Ayun, there.
Sorry. Kamusta? Kamusta, Jason? Tagal na.
Oo nga. Long time. Ayos naman. Long time. Pangalan mo ha, BizReg101 Slides. Letting you know.
Oh my gosh. Oo nga. Let me change that. Oo nga. Kala ko naman ito yung pangalan ng presentation. Galing ko ah. There we go.
Here we have EJ Arboleda. You're the CMO, Chief Operating Officer, diba? Or
I'm the mascot of Taxumo. Kaya yun. And thanks, Licia, for pulling me in. And that's my daughter, Miss Philip.
Thanks as well for being on the webinar on short.
Of course. No worries. Always glad to help.
So yeah, we're in the Q&A portion. EJ,
right.
the Chief Operating, Chief Executive. I always get it confused. You are.
Kahit ano. CEO.
Chief Officer. Chief Officer of Taxumo. He's here with us. He'll help answer questions. So we're in the Q&A portion. And yeah, feel free to ask questions, guys. I know that a lot of you guys have questions on how to do things like registration and tax and stuff. I guess it's a good time to start our first question, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we have a question here from Prince Winley. Government employee po ako at the same time performing freelancer. Nagbayad po ako ng monthly tax based on my monthly salary. Kailangan ko pa ba magbayad ng tax sa income ko galing freelance? Ano yung mga process na dapat gawin?
Alright, so sorry, bigla na ako sumasagot. So Prince, hello, thank you for the question. Thanks for joining as well. But yes, ideally, since this is live and recorded and BAR is probably watching, yes, you will have to also pay for basically your income as a freelancer. So as citizens of the Philippines, we essentially have to pay for all of the income that we receive. The thing naman though is that at the end of the year, what happens is that iti-take yung employment income mo plus yung income mo from your freelance business and then titingnan kung magkano ba talaga yung owed mo from there, no? Chances are, if you are earning less than 250K, for example, from your freelance work, chances are you won't actually need to pay more. But then again, it's gonna be kasi the sum of both incomes. Yun yung i-check versus the income tax table. But sorry, basically net answer, yes, you will have to pay for that. So I would recommend that you register. When you register your freelance profession, you will also likely have to change your RDO from the RDO of your employer to your residential RDO, and then register that business, and then you can officially do it na rin talaga. And that's it.
Okay. Let us know if you have any follow-ups, Prince, or if you have any questions regarding EJ's answer. Correct. Thank you for answering that. Pero technically naman, malalaman ba nila?
The BIR kasi has been very proud of their data analytics department lately. We have helped people who tell us na, hey, help us register and close these open cases because for some reason, BIR knows that I'm earning. Ang theory namin is number one, if like their clients withhold from them, then, nakikita agad from the reports of the clients, especially kung local clients. If international naman, ang assumption namin is that whenever there are purchases made, especially big purchases, doon nahuhuli ng BIR na, hey, saan galing yung pera mo? Nagiging ganon. So, nasisilip. So that's the thing, yeah. Although yun nga, I think better na rin, guys, no. The advantage kasi of like reporting all of your income is that you have a complete and full and higher financial history. And the reason why you want a complete financial history is because later on, if you want to get loans, for example, personal loans, bibili ka ng bahay, home loan, whatever, yun kasi yung gagawing basis ng institution, whether it makes sense for them to loan to you. The alternative kasi is if you don't have that, you will be subject to usurious loans ang tawag, no? Meaning yung mga 5-6, yung matataas yung interest. Kasi yun, risk, therefore, they can give you a loan pero mataas yung interest, no? Pero if you want to get from a bank talaga, then I would recommend you have a good, complete financial history.
Okay, that's some good advice. Let's go to Scene. Scene's question. Most of the freelancers are paid in dollar, so they are dollar generating service providers, same as BPO. Can freelancers be classified as tax exempt?
All right, sige. So the reason why BPOs and OFWs are tax exempt is because there are laws saying that they are. That's like the net answer. Right now, there are no laws saying freelancers are tax exempt. In which case, we are subject to the normal tax rates. Taxumo is working with legislation, with certain senator offices, pushing for your interests, actually. We're telling them na if you want to encourage, digital work or working from home, especially ngayon, maraming nawala ng trabaho and they are turning to this, then, we recommend tax exemptions. We're working on that. I can't promise anything, pero hopefully something will happen out of that, no? So unless those laws are passed, unfortunately, we are subject to like the normal tax regulations.
Well, thank you. I didn't know that you guys were working with mga Senate to get that through.
Oh yeah, oo. Lagi kami na-invite tapos yun. Tapos we help them realize what digital work is. They're so confused, guys. Pero that's the hill we chose to fight on. So there we go.
Kumikita sa bahay sa internet. Okay. Next question from Banjo. What if I'm earning less than 250K per year? Do I still have to declare taxes? What document or forms will I use?
Yes, you will have to declare taxes. The 250K per year na threshold is only for income tax. When you are registered, there are other taxes you have to pay, such as percentage tax. No, there are options that will allow you to choose like different ways of computing, like 8%, etc. But at the end of the day, just because you're earning 250K, hindi yan yung indication na hindi ka magbabayad ng tax. So yun. So what forms do you use? The forms you use will depend on ano yung forms assigned to you by the BIR. Most likely, they would be your income tax forms. So that is filed quarterly and annually. Okay, a lot of people think it's just annual. It's filed quarterly and annually. And you also have to file percentage tax. Okay, yung sinabi kong option kanina is called the 8% tax rate. No, instead of that income tax table that we're all familiar with, instead of the probably not all that us geeks are familiar with. So instead of that table, you are going to basically multiply it by 8% and yun na lang yung babayaran mo. So may ganung options that you can take, no? And that we in Taxumo, we make it easy through the system, but at least there are options for that.
Yeah, that's why I use Taxumo kasi may quarterly, may monthly, may annual. Ano na lang, they just tell me, pay this amount. Sige, bayaran ko na. That's why I use I don't need to remember anything. Sige.
Thank you. Yes.
Maricel Barnilio has a question. Why do freelancer need to pay tax? Diba ang mga employer mostly is US-based, automatic tax exempt? Asking lang po.
Yun. So, ang tax laws ng Philippines is not based on where you get the money. Whether you're taxable or not. Whether you're taxable or not is determined by whether you are a resident citizen of the Philippines. Since you are resident citizens of the Philippines, you are on the hook to pay taxes. And that's like how taxes are set up in the Philippines. Yung sinasabi mo tax exempt, that is for people who basically, kunyari you're receiving income from abroad and you're receiving it in dollars, then there are certain like tariffs and international trade laws, stuff like that, which is very, I mean, honestly, no, if you want to like avail of that, you will have to prove a lot of and provide a lot of documentation to the BIR, such that honestly, in my opinion, it's not worth it. So yun lang yung challenge. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a misconception kasi na yung employer, yung mga clients, since foreign clients. Pero yeah, like what EJ said, the client doesn't matter. What matters is you and your earnings. So no matter whether you earn them from freelancing or from online selling or from illegal activities, you're still supposed to pay taxes on those, diba?
Tama. Yes.
Sige. Reba Blanquez is asking, ang Taxumo ba ang bahala sa lahat from registration and all? Di ba may registration service tayo dun sa NCR?
Yes, we can help you with registration. You are right, Jason. It's mostly, we provide that service in Metro Manila, Tarlac, and South Luzon. So that is the scope of registration right now. We are looking for partners in other areas. Like for example in Cebu where Jason is, no. So if we find partners, then we can start offering that. Right now wala pa, pero that is something that we offer for those areas. But after registration, then that's where the brunt of Taxumo's work really happens, wherein it's mostly tax compliance talaga. That's where we help you with.
Pero yung registration for freelancers is very easy actually. Right now, actually before it was harder because they didn't know anything. But right now it's just OTR, and then you just go to City Hall. Like sabi yung Ledge kanina, go to City Hall, you pay 150 pesos or I don't know, something like that to get a certificate, and then you go to BIR. It'll take less than a day to do it. But the more challenging part is the paying and the computation and the remembering. So that's what I registered myself, pero Taxumo is handling the monthly, quarterly, all that stuff.
Yes, tama.
So Jennifer Romero is asking, need po ba ang BIR pag mag-apply ng loan? Need din po ba yung proof of income if mag-apply ng tourist visa?
Alright, so first of all, huwag ka muna lumabas ng bansa kasi alam mo naman ang situation, nakakatakot. But to answer your question, need po ba ang BIR para mag-apply ng loan? No, you don't need BIR para mag-apply ng loan. But the loans that you get will depend on whether you have real documentation or not. As I said, you can get loans from a lot of the apps, for example, pero ang lalaki ng interest niya. Like effective interest rate is almost like the biggest I've seen is like 120% per annum, which is crazy. It's like 20% per month. Parang gano'n. Basta sobra. Like 6%. Pwede yun because like it's short-term loans, no? And then like you just mas mataas pa ang credit card actually. But anyways, enough of my issues now. So yes, you will be able to get loans naman from those, no? But if you want loans from institutions that will give you lower rates, for example, yung mga co-op, for example, yung mga banks, no? They will look for official documentation, and the official documentation you can provide is an income tax form that you filed to the BIR. On your next question, ang proof of income if mag-apply ng tourist visa, Yes, especially if you're a freelancer, no? Because if you are employed, normally yung 2316 mo, yung binibigay ng employer mo, enough na yun. And a certificate of employment from your employer, no? But if you are working for yourself, hindi ka naman pwedeng gumawa ng certificate of employment saying this is my salary signed by me. So, again, the official documentation you can provide is that income tax form.
Okay, hope that answers the question. Chen, paano ba pag US-based yung employer mo? Paano transfer RDO?
Ang RDO mo will be transferred to your residence. So, note that if you're, let's define what employer means, okay? In the context of Philippine laws, an employer means you are employed if you are fully employed by that company or person or whatever, and you are getting a Form 2316. That means that that company employing you is also registered in the Philippines. Okay? That's the only time when you will be employed in like legal terms. Now, if you are employed by a US-based company that does not have a Philippine presence, then technically you are, sa mata ng Philippines, a freelancer. You are a professional. All right? In which case, you have to register and get your own business address. In most cases, that business address is your home address. In which case, the RDO assigned to your home, doon mo to transfer yung PIN mo. Make sense?
Okay, let us know mga follow-up. Guys, let us know if you have any follow-up questions to the answers that PJ is giving nila. Okay. This is, I think, Melanie Aguinaldo. Paano po kung matagal yung hindi nag-update ang business sa BIR, hindi siya nag-stop, nagtuloy po yung business kasi may nangyari sa itibak po ng bookkeeper, perang pambayad ng tax. Paano siya i-veg ulit?
Ang sakit, alam nyo, that happens, no? And I feel for you because that happened to us actually. So I know exactly what you're going through. So, ang saklap kasi nawala na yung pera mo, tapos parang idedemanda ko ba? So, parang sayang yung energy mo. 'Di ba? Pero, you're still on the hook to paying taxes because at the end of the day, your bookkeeper is not liable for your taxes. You are. You're just outsourcing the work, but you're never gonna be able to outsource that risk. Okay? So, in this case, we have helped people like this. They do have open cases. For the filings that they did not file, meron silang pending na kailangan nilang bayaran. What we have found effective is for people na kailangang ilakad yung open case nila, as in the owner, or in this case, siguro kayo, since you are the one registering the business, you will go to the RDO yourself and really request for consideration. Tell them your story. The story that you have is not unique. So they have heard this before. And it does happen. So don't worry na hindi sila maniniwala because it's normal, no? Talagang nangyayari yan. So you will, you tell them that this is what happened, and normally they will lower the penalties associated with your filings. But you will still have to recreate all of the forms na hindi na-file. That's the challenge. Okay? So, ang question is, paano siya i-register ulit? If you registered your name as a sole proprietor, technically, then, that sole proprietor is still you. So, hindi siya nag-expire or nawawala just because you stopped filing. It's always there. It just has open cases. If you register again, most likely they will see that previous registration and they will say na, may open cases ka. If you choose to register yourself again, sole prop or professional, ang mangyayari, bibigyan ka ng BIR ng branch code. Okay. Alam niyo yung PIN natin, di ba? May 000 at the end. So ngayon, may branch ka na ng sarili mo. Magkakaroon ka na ng 001, 002, 002, mga ganon. So I do know people na, for example, they own mga kiosk sa mall, tapos they're also doing freelance work. So meron silang 000 dun sa kiosk, na 001 yung freelance work nila. So ganon yung situation, no? But yun nga lang, in your case, it won't, like the open cases for the past issue won't disappear. Kailangan talagang ayusin yan.
She has a follow-up here.
Oh, sure.
matagal na po, okay lang po ba? Kasi parang nawala naman gana si owner ng business. May nag-advise kasi na mag-apply ng bankruptcy, mas madali daw ulit.
It's the bankruptcy laws are different from the bankruptcy laws in the Philippines are different from the bankruptcy laws in the States. So sa States may bankruptcy laws called Chapter 11, yung mga ganon, in which case you sort of like it stops you from, or parang you get you're excused from having to pay your tawag dito, your suppliers, no? Now, here's the thing. If you registered as a corporation, no, if you registered a corporation, one of the benefits of a corporation is that the liability of the corporation is not the liability of the person who owns the corporation. What does that mean? If yung corporation may utang, hindi pwedeng kunin yun from the assets of the person, okay, of the owner, because in the eyes of the law, a corporation is a separate person. Like literally, it's a person. Sa mata ng batas, it's weird. Ngayon, if the business registered, however, was not a corporation and was, let's say, a sole proprietorship, then that means ikaw pa rin yun. No? So that's the challenge. For you to be able to close that, kailangan mong i-close yung open cases mo. So babalik lang tayo dun sa original na situation. Yun. Ang sakit niyan, promise. But I hope and I pray na maayos nyo yan. ASAP.
Yeah, so you can't close a business unlike the States na Chapter 11 bankruptcy, wala nang liabilities dito. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's move on to Imelda's question over here. Many young teens are working as freelancers. Should they pay tax too?
That's a very good question. Number one, the first question is, should they be working? If they are minors, then normally, if they're working, then dapat meron yan yung mga, yung dole. Alam niyo yung mga child actors? Yes, kasi ako nung child actor ako, hindi, joke lang. Pero yung mga child actors, meron kasi silang certification from DOLE saying that they as minors can work. The DOLE, what they do is they check whether the person is studying, the person is ganyan, the person is, hindi naman napabayaan, etc. And they're doing it of their own free will. May mga ganong chine-check yung DOLE, which is good, no? But anyways, if you're a minor, if you want to go into work, into business, kailangan ng ganon. Now, normally what happens is that the teens are sort of like, what's the term? Parang naka-umbrella sila under the parent. So what the parent does is the parent is the one who registers. And then parang siya na lang yung nagre-report ng income ng teen, no? So yun, so that's like how it's set up. But yes, to answer your question, as long as there's income coming in, there's tax that's to be paid for it. So yun.
Okay. Cecilio Baliana Jr.'s question: if I already registered my business from TTI, then decided to discontinue operation, dropshipping business, am I obliged to file tax? Will BIR penalize me in case of late filing?
Okay. So when you register, I assume you're registering a sole prop because you mentioned DTI. So when you register, you have a registration with the DTI, a sole prop. You register your trade name, and then you register with the LGU, yung City Hall, and then you register with the BIR. All right. If in the course of registration, hindi mo natuloy yung BIR, technically hindi ka registered. All right. If it's just DTI, hindi ka registered, because what that means is you just basically reserved your name. Okay. If you decided to like stop it na, ayoko lang gawin, then malamang wala kang open cases unless the BIR does their magical data analytics and they find out. That's the only time it will happen. But note that they will also see na hindi ka nag-register. So that's another thing na kailangan pang ayusin. Aside from the open cases na nahanap nila.
Yun. Okay. Next question over here is from Leti Santos. If a freelancer is a senior citizen, is she still subject to tax?
Yes, you are still subject to tax, but fortunately, you also have, the benefits of being a senior citizen. So a senior citizen discount wherein, you don't pay taxes what happens actually is that you're exempted from having to. What happens is that the business, the person you're paying, let's say you're buying from Jollibee. Okay, sana sponsor tayo ng Jollibee, no? Pero yun, so let's say you are buying from Jollibee, no? What the senior citizen code, or like, our Magna Carta for senior citizens, what it says is that the business is exempted from collecting VAT from you. Okay? But wala sa code saying the senior citizen is exempted from paying. Does that make sense? So there's a very nuanced treatment of how taxes work, especially VAT, no? But to answer your question, yes, senior citizens will still have to pay taxes.
Okay. Ayun, well, Melanie had some some additional. It's construction business in Ilocos, pero the same rules apply naman sa namin.
Yeah, yes.
It doesn't change anything. Do you have something you wanted to present? I see na you or na-click mo lang.
Yes. Ano lang, just getting ready. Kasi if there's no other questions, like we'd like to show what Taxumo is all about for our Flip community.
Sige. So, by the way, thank you so much, guys, for answering the questions. And thank you to our audience for asking the questions. I know you guys are very interesting questions, and these folks were very happy to answer them for you. So,Nej is going to talk more about Taxumo over here.
Okay, thanks again, Jason. So, Jason has been plugging us for a few times na kanina, but yeah, Taxumo is an online platform for filing your taxes. So how do we work? So Taxumo works on any browser, any device. So even if you're on your mobile phone, your tablet, or your desktop computer, you're able to work on your taxes and manage them online. So it's a very simple process. You just enter your income and expense. So think of Taxumo as a financial management tool as well, in addition to being a tax compliance tool. Now, once you enter your income and expense, and once you properly set up your profile, then Taxumo will automatically calculate your taxes. So wala kayong iniisip na ano yung formula for percentage tax, ano yung formula for VAT. So we do all the thinking for you with Taxumo. And you easily autofill your forms and submit it to the BIR. So, alam mo yung BIR forms sa 1701Q, 2551Q, medyo mahaba, and then ang daming pinifill out na fields. Since you set up a profile with us, automatically now we do it for you. No, perhaps we do all the thinking for you in Taxumo. And then you can also quickly pay online with us. So usually kasi when you pay your taxes, you have to queue up at the bank, and then maghihintay ka for your turn. But with us, you can actually pay through GrabPay, you can pay through your debit or credit card, you can go through online banking, or you can also go to your local pawn shop to pay your taxes. So the options for you is basically diverse and a lot. And then my online and digital books of accounts. So at the end of each year, kasi you have to submit it to the BIR yung books of accounts, and then what you can do with this is you can just copy and paste this. And if you want it to be more automated, you can actually you can apply for a loose leaf books of accounts, so you can print this out and then submit it to the BIR. But then, you can just easily copy and paste this para walang hassle on your end. And then, if you need help of a CPA, may features naman kayo that will help you. So, in line with, yung tax hacks na sinasabi ko rin, we can actually do that for you. So, based on the income and expenses that you've entered into our system, we can recommend the best tax schedule for you for the next tax year. And then you can actually give your bookkeepers or your accountants access to your account if you want to you want to double check. And lastly, if you have no accountant, you can choose from our partner Taxumo within CPAs. You can schedule a consultation with them to know more about your accounting practices, your bookkeeping practices, or even you can do tax planning with them as well. So if you have any questions with Taxumo, our customer advocates are on call 9 a.m. to 12 midnight. So if you have any questions, someone's waiting for you to ask on our system. And then my other services rin kami. So we can do business registration in Metro Manila, Pampanga, and South Luzon. So those are the only areas we're covering right now, but we're trying to expand it to other areas as well. Now, another thing that's good with Taxumo is that if you're a subscriber, if you have a paid plan with Taxumo, you can pay your SSS and Pag-ibig for free. So unlike when you're in a free account, may transaction fee kami. If you get a subscription with us, nga, walang transaction fee. And PhilHub is not real soon, but we're working on it. So heads up for that. And ito yung mga plans namin. So 8% plan, micro business, and small and medium businesses. So whatever our plans are catered to the sort of taxes that you're going to file. If you have any questions, please comment them down below and we'll answer them. And then I encourage everyone to sign up for free. We don't ask for a credit card details or any of that. So you can try out the system. You can try out Taxumo for as long as you want and see if it really works for you. So yeah, sign up for free. If you want to use a coupon code, may coupon code kami with Flip. So it gives you 10% off your Taxumo plans. So just use promo code FLIP when you subscribe to a paid plan. May parang box then where you can enter the promo code.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for that presentation, Rich. There is Helen has a question. Helen Santos Riano, is Taxumo for corporations or big businesses only, or also applicable to individual taxpayer?
Ayun, sige. Sorry. Di ko ba sasagot ito? Ako na lang yung salita. Taxumo is specially designed for individuals, individual taxpayers. So, professionals, sole proprietorships, yan talaga yung like Taxumo in its purest form. You can use it for yourself. However, we do have partner CPAs who can also help you if you are a corporation or a bigger business and you need more services. What happens is that those partner CPAs, they can actually provide discounts and basically a cheaper rate because for the forms that can be filed through Taxumo, that's what they use. So ang natitira na lang work is like the others that need to be more parang personally handled by someone, then that's for corporations. But again, if you're an individual, then Taxumo as it is perfect for you.
Yeah, I agree. It's for the individual. I don't know if like for larger corporations, they have their own, accountants and bookkeeper in-house. But yet it's really made for people like us who can't hire somebody monthly. It wouldn't make sense to pay somebody, several thousands every month. So that's why Taxumo is perfect for I think starting like if you're an individual freelancer, even all the way to like a small business that has, like 10 employees, ganun, tama ba?
Yeah, actually kahit ilan, up to you, no? So, kahit pwede namang, Taxumo naman will adjust. Dadami lang yung pinapasok mong entries, basically.
Okay, yeah. So there you have it. So yeah, if you guys want to sign up, ayun, Cecilio's signing up na. Don't forget to use the 10% off promo code FLIP. You're gonna get 10% off any paid plan with them, and then that kind of savings adds up then, So use promo code FLIP when signing up. I think we're already a little bit over time. So thank you to Reg, thank you to EJ for staying on, for answering the questions, and for the very informative information session that we had tonight.
Thank you so much as well.
Yeah. Thank you for having us, Jason. No, and I want to wish everyone good luck in your freelancing journey. You're in good hands with Jason's virtual assistant bootcamp. No, so we've seen a lot of success stories. So we're looking forward to great success from all of you.
All right, thank you so much, EJ. Thank you so much, Ledge, and thank you everybody for staying on, for listening to the presentation. It's not always our favorite topic to learn about tax or suspension, pero it's an obligation that we have. It's important also. So thank you for staying on. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you to everyone, and yeah, stay safe, guys. The weather and with the pandemic going on, stay safe and have a great rest of the evening.
Bye. Everyone.
Bye.